Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, pay cuts, tax hikes, and fee increases, all part of a new budget passed yesterday by the Phoenix City Council. Meet a local high school student who won an international award for electrical and mechanical engineering, and see how teenagers are helping people of all ages learn tech skills. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Former Mesa Mayor Scott Smith today filed signatures to run for governor. Smith submitted over twice the signatures needed to get on the ballot. He becomes the third Republican to file for the governor's race, joining Secretary of State Ken Bennett and former GoDaddy executive Christine Jones. And Congressman Matt Salmon tells the Arizona Republic that he's personally asked Attorney General Tom Horne not to run for re-election. Salmon says he supported Horne in the past, but feels that allegations that Horne is using his staff and state resources for campaign purposes make it difficult for Horne to effectively run the AG's office and be a viable candidate for the Republican Party. Horne responded by saying in part that he's won without the establishment before and he will do it again. The Phoenix City Council voted yesterday to pass a controversial budget that closes a $38 million shortfall. Covering the story for the Arizona Republic is Dustin Gardner, and he joins us now. It's good to see you here. This is you've been going through this from the get-go. What exactly now did the council vote on?
So last night, the council voted on a plan to balance its budget. Phoenix is facing a $38 million deficit in the upcoming fiscal year, which starts July 1st. And this deficit is the result of several things. One of them is overly optimistic revenue projections. Phoenix was way under its projections for the current year. And then, but beyond that, expenses are rising much faster than revenues. The city's pension costs, healthcare costs are all skyrocketing. And so the city's trying to find a way to keep up with that given these sluggish revenue numbers.
Now, this is the city manager, Ed Zerker. This is his budget, or is this his budget piggybacked onto someone else's budget?
Okay, so Ed Zerker, the new city manager, he was put in the job permanently in February. He inherited this kind of situation from his predecessor, David Cavazos, the prior city manager. And so he's trying to clean up the mess after this year's budget that contains the shortfall. And he's into the next year, he's projecting how the city can dig back from that $38 million hole.
And now, I thought his original budget had far more in the way of cuts, correct?
So initially, Ed Zerker had warned that the city would have to cut city services by about $29 million if it did not increase taxes or force employees to take a pay and benefit cut. But those service cuts, which were pretty drastic, included things like pools, senior centers, recreation programs, fire inspectors. Those are all off the table now because the city council agreed to a plan that includes tax and fee increases, as well as city employee salary and benefit cuts.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So let's go through this now. The employee pay and benefit cuts. Are these all city workers, union workers, both? What's going on here?
So this is all city workers, all 5 unions, even the non-unionized employees. It's about 14,000 city workers who are affected by this.
And as far as the unions now, 4 of the 5 unions have already gone ahead and agreed to this. How much of a percentage cut here now?
So it's 1.6% in the upcoming year, and then the following year, the second year of the contract, it's 0.9%. All of the city's unions have been forced to take contracts with these provisions. 4 of the unions agreed to those contracts kind of, towards the end of the process for most of them. The 5th union, the police employee union, they did not accept the contract, but the council took the unprecedented step of imposing this on that union. And now the union's trying to fight that, and they're organizing and collecting signatures to trigger some sort of a referendum election, or if not a referendum, a ballot initiative that would force the council to go back and take back these cuts that they're being forced.
That imposition on the police union, I know there's a lot of fussing and fighting leading up to yesterday. What happened yesterday?
It's been quite a dramatic process, and there was some debate yesterday, but yesterday was strikingly undramatic for the whole process. Throughout this process, we've had hundreds of employees, police officers filling the council chambers, protesting this budget, protesting the cuts. Last night, it sort of ended with a whimper. We had, the council come in and the votes were sort of clear on both sides, and without a whole lot of fanfare, they put it through.
And you mentioned tax increases. What kind of tax increases? It sounds like it's just one thing.
So most of the new revenue is coming from a new tax on residents' water bills. This is based on water meter size, and for the average resident, it'll be about $1.50 a month. That is the bulk, the vast majority of these revenue increases. But beyond that, there are some fee increases on things like city recreation centers, senior centers, and those will bring up in a little bit more money. But most of it is this water bill tax.
And it's the size of the water, the water meter?
The water meter.
Okay, so that basically says if you got a bigger water meter, you're essentially using more, or is it just basically how much water? Kind of confusing there.
Yeah, it's not based on water use. It's just based on meter size. So it doesn't really reflect any amount of water that's being used. But for most residential customers, it would be the $1.50. For a larger meter, like in a commercial setting, it would be more than that. But that's the average for a homeowner.
And the fee increases again. Parking meters will be increased, correct?
Yeah, so parking meters was part of that. That's also not going to add a whole lot of revenue, but that's a piece of it. And the city, currently all of the parking meters, anywhere you are in the city, even if you're outside the Super Bowl, it's $1.50. But they want to change that to a range of 50 cents to $6 per hour.
$6 per hour.
That would be for like a premier event, say the Super Bowl or an athletic event downtown, I think is what the city's suggesting.
Goodness gracious. All right, but as far as now city services, senior centers, pools, fire inspection, code inspection, those things not cut at all?
Yeah, that's all off the table.
Okay,
now.
But there are fee increases for using senior centers and
Right.
using athletic. Are they big fee increases?
I guess that's a matter of perspective. For like a resident who uses a senior center, currently they're paying $10 per year for an annual pass. A lot of people might not think that's very much. Now they'll be asked to pay $20. I've heard some complaints about that, but for the most part, I think a lot of seniors who came to city budget hearings, they said we're willing to pay a little bit more if you can keep this service open for us.
Interesting. All right, so the council voted, it was 5-4. Who opposed and why?
Okay, so the opposition was primarily made up of the council's fiscal conservatives. You have Sal DiCiccio, Jim Waring, Bill Gates, and their stance was that the city has a lot of excess that it could cut. Rather than raising taxes, they wanted to cut those things like lobbying, PR, travel, things that they felt are unneeded, and they would rather cut that and not ask residents to pay more. And then the fourth vote was Councilman Michael Nowakowski, and his reasoning was a little different. He was actually siding more with the employee unions, saying it was unfair to ask them to take these cuts, given that they faced cuts in the last 5 years or so since the recession.
And so is this a done deal, or are we going to see some tinkering here?
There's some formal votes that have to take place before July to finish all this up, but for the most part, this is essentially a done deal. They could always go back, but at this point, it's clear that the majority of the council has sided with the plan that Ed Zerker suggested.
And you mentioned not kind of going out with a whimper yesterday. Not really a heck of a lot of fire and brimstone speechifying going on, huh?
Not yesterday, but before that, when we had the police coming, it's been an unprecedented budget process in Phoenix, especially with the union contracts being imposed. And it has been a pretty contentious process. So last night isn't really representative of the drama that's gone on, if you will.
Before we let you go, and you referred to this earlier regarding why the city is in this position, the revenue projection, they were just too rosy and they were off the mark.
Yeah.
Is there any urgency to learn why those projections were so off the mark and to avoid that kind of thing in the future?
That was a common theme at the meeting last night. You had a lot of council members walking away saying, we got to learn something from this. This is a wake-up call. And to do that, the council is pushed the city manager to launch an organizational review. And so the city will spend the next summer and the following months reviewing its organization and how it prepares revenue projections and trying to find out, what can it do to make sure this deficit isn't a repeat in future years, and how do you prevent these, overly glossy projections from being an issue again.
I would think you'd have to find a new crystal ball if we run through the same kind of thing in the next budget process.
Right.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Well, great work. It's good to have you here, and we'll continue following the city council. Good to have you here.
Yep.
Along an isolated stretch of State Route 80 deep in southeast Arizona is a monument to one of the most important events in Arizona history. Off the highway is Skeleton Canyon, where the Apache warrior Geronimo, Naiche, son of Cochise, and their followers surrendered to General Nelson Miles. It was early September 1886. With the surrender, armed conflict between the Apaches and European immigrants ended. Geronimo, his followers, and the entire Chiricahua tribe, even the Apache scouts the Army had hired to track him down, were deported east to Florida. Geronimo lived until 1909, gaining notoriety at public appearances and in Teddy Roosevelt's inaugural parade. Yet he and his people were never allowed to return to their beloved Arizona homeland. Only in 1986 did the governor and state officially welcome back the Chiricahua tribe to Arizona after 100 years of exile.
An 18-year-old student at Corona del Sol High School in Tempe recently took home the top award for electrical and mechanical engineering at the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair in Los Angeles. Sarah Galvin is here to talk about her award-winning project, and also joining us is Sarah Galvin's mentor, Nathan Newman, a professor at ASU's Ira A. Fulton School of Engineering. Good to have you both here. Thank you so much for joining us. Sarah, I want to start with the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair. What's this all about?
Well, it's really the top of the top when it comes to the science circuits for the fairs. And it's fascinating because it was really a conglomeration of 1,700 students, and it's the best projects in the world coming together so that we can share ideas and interact on more level of higher intelligence in a way.
Were you familiar with the fair before you went out there, or was it anything about the whole process surprising to you?
And the Intel ISF has actually been a dream for a long time. Arizona runs its own series of science fairs for students to pre-qualify to go to the international fair. And within these fairs, I've been interacting at various levels, but I always see on the kind of edges, these people are usually wearing suits and they're always the ones who win.
Yeah.
And I decided a long time ago that's where I wanted to be. So this is the first time I was able to realize that.
World's largest high school science research competition. That's a lot of kids, that's a lot of folks.
Absolutely.
And talk to us more about, again, how the process of, how the engineering fair developed and your part in all this.
Yeah, so my part is actually just, we have the privilege of doing research as professors and looking for new knowledge. And part of that is to engage graduate students is the traditional one, but one of the things that ASU does so well is excellence in access. So the high school students that are interested in preparing for the science fair, we open up our labs, we work with them to choose projects, and we have the great honor of getting these bright, excited young students, and we do all we can to help them succeed, and it's really up to them to, learn the fundamentals and then move on to do their project. And it gives us great joy to see all of them progress and learn. And some of them, like Sarah, have done so well and just do amazing things that we sit back and watch and are very proud.
Talk to us now about your project. I understand it's an innovative approach to improve spin polarization in thin films for spin transport electronics. What am I talking about?
Yes, sir. Well, that is the title of my project, but taking it down to a level that is very understandable, the practical application.
Yes.
I'm working in a field that was developed very recently, spintronics, and that focuses on utilizing a different way of manipulating the materials to produce a new kind of electronics based more on magnetism than like passing current. So it allows us to make things smaller and faster, more efficient, and then within that category I'm focusing on a specific material to optimize it for use in these applications.
And now the material, correct me if I'm wrong here, magnesium oxide is usually used. You found a different material to use?
Yes, magnesium oxide is usually used because it actually creates a higher quality CFAS, which is what the title abbreviates to. But I found that using another substrate, another base structure, which is substantially less expensive, actually produces a better value that we're looking for in the application into these electronic devices.
More efficient and less expensive?
Yes, sir.
No wonder you won the award. I mean, now when anyone, but when Sarah came to you with this idea or said, hey, here's what I'm thinking, What were you thinking?
Oh, I thought it was great. To be honest, Sarah had been working in the lab a little bit last year, and so we had been working on this type of electronics. And what we hope it can do eventually is, right now computers have memory and logic, and they're separate. The devices that Sarah was working on pioneering allows you to make magnetic memory right on chip, so you can have a computer on a chip. We won't need computers that have the separate one. So when Sarah said she'd like to look at a material that's more efficient and choose a substrate that's going to work better, we made sure the equipment was there, we asked her what her plan was, and we let her carry it out. What I usually do is we meet on a regular basis and I ask, what did you do? What did you find? What does it mean?
Right.
And then I watch as the project progresses, and it starts with a seed and it grows, and so it's really exciting.
When the project does progress, are you watching every step of the way, going, boy, I sure hope this works, and just kind of watching, because I mean it may not work.
Absolutely. That's really what research-based science is. It's very different from my high school classes, for instance, chemistry, where my teacher always knows what the end result of a lab is going to be because he knows the educational target. But in research-based science, that's really what allows us to expand into the unknown. It's one of the most interesting parts for me personally.
So why did you go into this particular, was there something about this idea that got your attention? How'd you get started in all this?
I started working with Professor Newman through ASU's SEEN program, which is an educational outreach for high school students such as myself. And his lab deals predominantly with these type of projects within the spintronics applications. And a couple of months ago, he said, I was just finishing another project, and he really said, find something that interests you, bring it back to me, and if it's viable, we'll go. So I did a bunch of research, and I found that this material was particularly interesting to me from a physics standpoint, and we decided to run with it. And
run with it you did. Now, I'm assuming occasionally a kid will come to you and you'll say, no. Would you steer them in a different direction? Obviously with Sarah you didn't, but sometimes you have to kind of nudge a little bit to...
Yeah, you try not to say no too often.
Sure.
Because if you do the experiments and you're always right, you're not doing the right experiments. So you have to try new things. Sometimes I'll explain what the limitations are, why I'm concerned.
Yes.
You know, research is such a great way to learn. That's why research is done at the universities. And so when a student comes and they say, this is new and this is something I'm going to try, I never say no, but I do say, here's the conventional wisdom. Do you want to try it?
Here's what you need to think about.
That's right. And hopefully, you know, we learn something, and 99% of the time we learn things, not everything works.
What are you thinking about as far as taking this particular project into the future, taking your education into the future? What's next for you?
Well, I, first of all, am going to be attending ASU in the fall, so I'm going to continue working for Professor Nathan Newman because it's been a fantastic opportunity. And with that said, I'd like to continue looking into this because it really is very interesting, and my results would indicate something that really needs to be spread to the public. So hopefully we will be publishing on something very similar to this, and that way the information can really get out so that others can expand upon it.
As far as you expanding, though, are there other avenues, other things that interest you that once you get to the university, you got to think, my nose around over here a little bit?
I think that one of the best parts about ASU is that it is such a large environment, but you can specialize and make it more of a small school experience. So my work with Professor Newman is fantastic. I really enjoy it. I'm also very interested in government and politics, so maybe I'm going to do a double major or a minor in that area. I haven't declared that for my first semester, but it might be second year.
I think research scientists are very much needed when it comes to politics. About 30 seconds left here. When you get students coming in, do you have to focus them a little bit, or do you want them to spread out and see what they can find?
I think it's a combination, and it depends. I usually let the students go at their own free will, and I watch how it develops. Some students need more step-by-step guidance. Some, you stay out of their way. And at the end, you know, we just are there to give opportunities, and we hope for success.
All right.
And so it's been a lot of fun.
Well, very good. Congratulations to you, and congratulations to you. We'll expect to hear more from you in the future. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Tonight's Focus on Arizona Technology and Innovation looks at a program that involves teenagers passing on their tech knowledge to others. Producer Christina Estes and photographer Scott Olson have the story.
Mission 1 is the first game you'll be playing.
You're doing so far so good right now.
On the 4th floor at Burton Bar Central Library in Phoenix,
are you guys enjoying you guys' game?
Anthony Jocelyn and his fellow interns lead a class on video game design.
You can have him, do sit-ups, you can have him do double jump, you can have him talk, you can have him think. Basically, it's whatever you want him to do, he'll do it if it has that function available.
Thanks to government grants, Phoenix hired 13 high school interns to support classes in the Makerspace, also known as Mach 1.
Mach 1 stands for Makers, Artists, Crafters, and Hackers. And we do everything from paper engineering to science experiments to computer classes and tech classes.
Youth Services Manager Terry Ann Lawler says there's a special focus on science, technology, engineering, and math, often called STEM.
When they graduate from high school nowadays, need to be prepared to go on to college, or they need to be prepared to work in the STEM industry. The nice thing about classes in the library that are STEM-based is that they're ungraded. There's not any pressure for them to perform. It's more of a play-like atmosphere.
Playing with the 3D printer is pretty popular.
It's an arm clip-on band, like hero type things like that, and we're actually people actually call and ask if we can actually make them things from here, like from our 3D printer and stuff like that. Our ultimate goal by the end of our this year is to actually make a small model house, make maybe 10 feet by 10 feet house, basically for from just our 3D printer that we have here.
Oh, 2 more. There you go.
From working here, they get a lot out of it. They get customer service skills, they get tech skills, they get troubleshooting skills, they learn how to work in a team.
Good job.
Ask the interns what they've learned, and a theme quickly emerges.
I have a lot more patience than I thought I had.
I have more patience than I probably thought I did, or that I gave myself credit for. Because this job, when it comes to, like I said, teaching older people things, you have to be patient, because sometimes they have the attitude like they're willing to learn, and then the other attitude when it's just like, hurry up and get me through what I need to do.
I've had adults come in and they'll be asking about the class, and when they find out that I'm the teacher, they always kind of look at me funny, like, oh, it's you. But it's really interesting getting to teach adults, just because you don't expect to have their roles reversed like that. But I guess in the world of technology, my generation's grown up used to a lot of these things, so the older generation is learning from us now.
We didn't find older people in this class. These students range from 6 to 16.
So now you have the choice to put that character in one of your games, and you can start making them.
When the internships end, Joel and Leah plan to attend college, while Anthony will enter the Army. He's already working out with his platoon and applying lessons he's learned at the library.
Time is really important in here and in the military, because classes have to start, classes have to end, kids have to leave, come back, things like that. And it also makes me kind of aware of things at all times, because when kids are here, I have to be able to watch them at peripheral vision, stuff like that, make sure they're not wandering off, or make sure they're doing the right thing over here, make sure they're just on task, things like that.
Are you guys still on the same level?
The library hopes to bring on new interns this fall, and it sounds like they'll have a tough act to follow.
I think that any one of my teens could be president, and I'd be happy about that.
The Youth Services Manager says that they are always looking for adults to share what they've learned or volunteer to teach classes. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.